Once upon a time, in a cozy cottage surrounded by towering trees, lived three bears. There was Papa Bear, who was big and strong, Mama Bear, who was gentle and kind, and Baby Bear, who was small and playful. Each morning, Mama Bear would make a delicious pot of porridge for breakfast. One morning, when the sun peeked through the leaves, the bears decided to go for a walk while their porridge cooled down. Unbeknownst to them, a curious little girl named Goldilocks was strolling through the forest nearby. This adventurous little girl, with golden curls bouncing around her face, stumbled upon the charming house of the three bears. Entranced by the aroma of porridge wafting through the open windows, her curiosity got the better of her, and she tiptoed inside. Goldilocks saw 3 bowls of porridge on the table. Her tummy gave a little rumble, and she decided to taste each one. First, she tried the porridge in the big bowl that belonged to Papa Bear.
Ouch!
"This porridge is too hot," she exclaimed, rubbing her tongue. Next, she moved to Mama Bear's medium-sized bowl. "Oh no! This porridge is too cold," she said with a frown. Finally, Goldilocks tasted the porridge from Baby Bear's little bowl. She grinned delightfully. "This porridge is just right," she announced, and happily ate it all up. After finishing the porridge, Goldilocks decided to explore further. She found herself in the living room with 3 chairs. Being a curious girl, she tried each one. Papa Bear's chair was too hard, Mama Bear's chair was too soft, but Baby Bear's chair was just right, until it broke under her weight. Feeling sleepy, Goldilocks made her way upstairs where 3 beds awaited her. Papa Bear's bed was too big and hard, Mama Bear's bed was too big and soft, but Baby Bear's little bed was just right. She snuggled in and fell into a deep sleep. Meanwhile, the bears returned home and were quite surprised to see their porridge bowls had been tampered with. "Someone's been eating my porridge," said Papa Bear. "Someone's been eating my porridge," added Mama Bear. "Someone's been eating my porridge, and they ate it all up," cried Baby Bear. The bears then noticed chairs out of place. "Someone's been sitting in my chair," Papa Bear noticed gruffly. "Someone's been sitting in my chair," Mama Bear remarked calmly. "Someone's been sitting in my chair, and it's broken," Baby Bear said sadly. Finally, the bears went upstairs to find Goldilocks asleep in Baby Bear's bed. Upon waking, Goldilocks was so startled to see the bears that she jumped up and ran straight out the door, into the forest, never to go into strange houses again. The bears had a story to tell, and Goldilocks learned a lesson in the end about respecting others' homes. And so, in the peaceful forest, the 3 bears continued their life, always locking their door when they left for a walk. And Goldilocks became a little more mindful on her adventures.
The end.
Once upon a time, in a magical forest, there lived 3 bears in a cozy little house. They were called Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear. One sunny morning, the bears decided to take a stroll through the woods while their porridge cooled. Along came a curious little girl named Goldilocks. Goldilocks had bright golden hair and a mischievous smile. While wandering through the forest, she stumbled upon the bears' house. Her curiosity got the best of her, and she couldn't resist entering. Inside, Goldilocks found 3 bowls of porridge on the table. Hungry as she was, she decided to try them all. The first bowl was too hot, the second bowl was too cold, but the third one was just right. With a tummy full of porridge, Goldilocks moved to the living room where she found 3 chairs. She hopped onto Papa Bear's chair. "Too hard," she exclaimed. Then she tried Mama Bear's chair. "Too soft." Finally, she sat on Baby Bear's chair. "Just right." She rocked back and forth until, crash, the chair broke into pieces. Goldilocks, feeling a little guilty but still curious, ventured upstairs and discovered 3 beds. First, she tried Papa Bear's bed. Too hard. Then, Mama Bear's bed. Too soft. Finally, she curled up on Baby Bear's bed. Just right. She was so comfy that she fell asleep. The bears returned home from their walk, expecting to enjoy their porridge. But when they saw the empty bowl, they knew someone had been there. "Someone's been eating my porridge," said Papa Bear. "And my porridge," said Mama Bear. "And they've eaten all of mine," wailed Baby Bear. In the living room, they discovered their chairs had been tampered with. Papa Bear roared, "Someone's been sitting in my chair." Mama Bear clucked, "And my chair." Baby Bear cried, "Someone's broken my chair into pieces." Finally, they tiptoed upstairs and found Goldilocks sleeping snugly in Baby Bear's bed. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed," Baby Bear squeaked, waking Goldilocks. Startled, Goldilocks rushed out of the house without a word, leaving the bears bewildered but amused. They watched her run down the forest path, knowing that the next time, a girl with golden hair might tread more carefully through Bearland. Once upon a time, in a whimsical forest full of towering trees and chirping birds, there lived 3 bears: Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear. They lived in a cozy little cottage filled with laughter and warmth. One sunny morning, Mama Bear prepared a delightful breakfast of delicious porridge. The 3 bears decided to take a morning stroll through the forest while they waited for their porridge to cool. Not too far away lived a little girl named Goldilocks. Curious and adventurous, Goldilocks loved exploring the forest and discovering new surprises. That morning, her wandering led her to the bears' charming cottage. Goldilocks, intrigued by the inviting sight, stepped inside without a second thought. In the dining room, she observed 3 bowls of porridge on the table. Feeling a bit hungry, Goldilocks tasted the porridge from Papa Bear's big bowl but found it too hot. Then, she tried Mama Bear's porridge, only to discover it was too cold. Finally, she sampled Baby Bear's porridge and smiled because it was just right, so she ate it all up. Content with her meal, Goldilocks ventured into the living room and noticed 3 chairs. She sat on Papa Bear's chair, but it was too hard. Then, she tried Mama Bear's chair, which turned out to be too soft. Finally, she perched on Baby Bear's chair, finding it just the right fit. But alas, the chair broke beneath her with a loud crack. Unfazed, Goldilocks explored further and found 3 beds in the bedroom. Feeling drowsy, she sprawled across Papa Bear's bed, but it was too big. Then, she tried Mama Bear's bed, which was too lumpy. Finally, she lay on Baby Bear's bed and immediately snuggled in, for it was just right. Gently rocking into Dreamland, Goldilocks soon fell asleep. Meanwhile, the bears returned from their walk, eager to enjoy their breakfast. When they saw their cottage topsy-turvy, Papa Bear boomed, "Someone's been eating my porridge." Mama Bear added, "Someone's been eating my porridge." And Baby Bear saw his empty bowl and cried, "Someone's been eating my porridge, and they've eaten it all up." Checking the living room, Papa Bear growled, "Someone's been sitting in my chair." Mama Bear noticed her chair had been used and exclaimed, "Someone's been sitting in my chair." Baby Bear glanced at his broken chair and sobbed, "Someone's been sitting in my chair, and it's broken." Finally, the bears tiptoed into the bedroom. Papa Bear felt his bed and thundered, "Someone's been sleeping in my bed." Mama Bear touched hers and remarked, "Someone's been sleeping in my bed." To Baby Bear's surprise, a little girl was sleeping soundly in his bed. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed, and she's still here," he squealed. Goldilocks awoke with a start and, realizing her mischief, dashed out of the cottage, vanishing into the forest. The bears returned everything to its place, grateful that their little visitor had gone on her way. And from that day on, Goldilocks remembered the lesson of respecting others' bear-wise special spaces.